Today, I am actually conducting interviews for a wedding couple that I am going to be filming their wedding later in October. This is for a package that the company I work for has that I never knew existed. It's kind of a documentary style package where we interview the couple and they kind of tell their love story and we implement that into the video, which is great. I've been trying to incorporate this in the wedding videos I've been making, and sometimes people want just regular stuff. Sometimes they don't want it. Sometimes they are interested. So it's kind of hit and miss depending on who. For the setup, it's pretty simple. We didn't have much time. I asked my buddy Joe Giddens to come help me light just because I knew I had to do a lot of stuff. I had to run cameras, lighting, and audio. So I just had him kind of set up the lights, and he brought his 600 watt with him. So that actually helped out. I can actually expose for exteriors and for the subject at the same exposure, and that was pretty nice. I am running the C70 and the R5C. The R5C is actually my A camera, and I'm making that wider since it's a full frame. I'm using my C70 as a B camera since it's tighter, so I just kind of run that as a tighter lens. It kind of feels strange to have a C70 as a B cam compared to R5C as a B cam, but then it works in this case. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we're getting the same results. I set them in the same log profile and it works perfectly fine. I kind of strategically placed them on the side of the frame in which they might be standing on at the altar. They kind of gave me a guess where they would be standing, so I just kind of did it. It just kind of, I think it personally adds like a little more interest, like we see them on this side, like the bride on the left side, the groom on the right side, then we kind of incorporate that side that they're going to be standing on. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter too much. I don't think anyone really care, but I think subconsciously, I think we'll kind of see that in that way. The lighting setup is just a 600 watt as a key on the softbox, and then I have a kicker light on the other side, and that's literally it. I didn't want to do much lighting because, like I said, there weren't much time, and I just kind of want to get this going, and I had to run everything by myself. So the way they wanted us to interview them was to have them separate first, interview the groom and then the bride, and then interview them together with the same questions, and they kind of have different responses. And I understood this way, and I think it works well. They were definitely more relaxed on the group interview, and it worked very nicely. If you notice, we have different setups for each interview, and I kind of wanted that because I wanted to look different. With Joe there, we were able to accomplish that. If he wasn't there, I would have just been one setup, and it wouldn't have been exciting to look at. We were first able to interview in the conference room, get the groom on one side in the right frame, then get the bride on the left side, and then we're able to get the group set up outside in the lobby here, and I think it turned out great. The reason why I don't have any video of this is because I was not able to take any of the behind the scenes video at all. Like I said, I was kind of running everywhere. We're going really, really fast. And these pictures were taken from Joe Giddens. He was just kind of chilling after we set everything up and recording. On the dual setup, I had him kind of pan the camera back and forth to each person talking. But he can just leave on one of them most of the time. So it worked out quite well. And then we had the R5C as a wide cam to kind of get both of them in the shot. And then, like I said, it's just two light setup again. We did utilize the window for some lights, just to get some extra lights kind of in the room, kind of fill up the space there. This does make me want to get a 600 watt light because of these kind of specific reasons. I can light it up and kind of match the exposure to the outside from looking through a window, and it helps do that. And I mean, we have so much use for it. On the last feature film I worked on, where I borrowed Giddens 600 watt, we utilized it heavily, and I fell in love with it, and this kind of makes me want to get a 600 watt even more. For my audio setup, I ran a boom overhead with my Rode NT5 like I usually do. Then I had two lavs going into each person there, and we're just running through the electrodes, Countryman B6 lavs. Those lavs are pretty decent. They're really small, so if you want to hide them well, they're great, but they're not the best sounding lavs. I think a lot of people don't really use them as much. They are the only ones I have that are TA5 connections, which utilizes my electrode units. So I have no choice but to use them. After the interviews, the photographer got in and we were able to go outside and shoot some of the engagement portions of the video. It's basically an engagement session, but I have the video side of things, so like I kind of let the photographer lead a little bit. And I just kind of did little poses here and there where I see fit. I had a shot list that they wanted me to go with, and some of that I can't do because it's very specific and we can't do it. But I did most of it, and I think it turned out well. We shot kind of towards the end of the day, but then there was still a lot of light, so struggling with the high contrast of the sunlight and shadows was kind of a bit difficult. But we found good spots to take photos and do videos, and I think it turned out quite well. So my setup, I used my gimbal, and I decided to use a Pro Mist filter because I don't ever get to use it, and I only use a 1/8 strength, and like it almost felt like it was kind of strong for me. I'm not really much of the Pro Mist guy. I have it just so I can just so I can use it if I need to use it, but otherwise I don't really use it. I kind of keep the regular look as I usually do. But yeah, I think this was a really fun session, and I wish I could do this more. I would love to offer this package like outside of the company I work for, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well.